Hi everyone. This is a brief screencast rundown of my Smartboard mini lesson um, on a class review of Twelfth Night. As you can see, the review will cover lesson objectives, mainly recall of main characters, this character's place in the story, timeline progression, and a big part of it is the students bringing their own voice to those characters. Something we've done earlier in the class, and we hope to bring back in the review. General teacher's notes and our slide topics, and these will cover each slide so that you can incorporate this mini lesson review into your own class however you'd like. Just a couple activities to spark some fun in reviewing Twelfth Night, which is already a fun, foolish, and foppish read. We'll go over all 8 of our slides, and I'll refer back to this later on. So we'll move on to the opening slide, which is slide 2. This slide really is just is kind of a background for introing the review session. You can have it on. It's a beautiful background, so you can just have it there as you intro the session, answer any questions before you start, and really get kids excited about reviewing this topic. First big thing that we'll do is we'll go over some of the main characters in the story. On this page, you'll see we have a number of characters up in the sky. The goal for the students will be to name a character and then bring them into the playing field just around the castle, however you want. So they'll come up to the board, they'll grab a character and they'll say, oh, this looks like Duke Orsino. And they'll bring that character down into the playing space and release them. And just to reaffirm who they are, you can just give them a little click. And
if music be the food of love, play on.
You'll get a little bit of the lines from that character. Each character has a little audio playback. So we take Olivia. Let's put her on top of this little hill because everyone seems to be going after Olivia in the play.
Have you any commission from your lord to negotiate with my face?
And then we have Sir Toby and Sir Andrew Aguecheek. Let's place them over here in the courtyard. Maybe a little revelry for them.
Faith, I can cut a caper, and I can cut the mutton to it.
Now, your students can place them anywhere on the screen. It's just leaving them in the sky would be no fun. So we could say we take Festy, little Ben Kingsley playing Festy. We'll place him up on the parapet.
I am gone, sir, and anon, sir, I'll be with you again.
And then we have our Sebastian, our lost brother on the sea. Maybe we'll place him with Olivia, who he ends up marrying.
I had a sister, whom the blind waves and surges have devoured. Of charity, what kin are you to me? What country? What name? What parentage?
And then maybe we can bring our lovely Olivia over here, maybe behind the, looks like she's standing behind the little wall there.
Sebastian was my father, such as Sebastian was my brother too. So went he suited to his watery tomb. If spirits can assume both form and suit, you have come to frighten us.
And then our poor woeful Malvolio
this
can
is
come
an
and
open.
play.
I will be proud. I will read politic authors. I will baffle Sir Toby. I will wash off gross acquaintance. I will be point device, the very man.
Now again, each student that comes up and picks a character, they can place them anywhere. You can have Malvolio on a little balance beam act over here. We can place Olivia off to the side and have Sir Toby and Sir Andrew Aguecheek having fun out on the area. Maybe we have Duke Orsino coming over and wrapping his arm around Viola. However they want to play with it, they're welcome to just bring it down and have a little fun with it. But again, they're just going over, identifying characters, and hearing some of that voice. Now you can also, I recorded my voice for each one of these. You could also have your students use it to earlier in the class when you're covering the story and the students are vocalizing the text. You can have recordings of their voices to include in here so they can have fun hearing themselves and doing that. So moving from here, we covered the main characters. We have a lot of secondary characters that are in the play, and they generally fall into two areas, into two courts, Duke Orsino's court and Lady Olivia's court. And so this is just a brief game where students will identify kind of which side someone's on. And this is maybe not completely aligned with them, but they're aligned with someone in the household. So you have a student come up and say they select Mariah. And Mariah would go in Lady Olivia's household. So we place them in there, drop it off, and it works. So we're putting them each in their individual households. So Sir Toby would be in Lady Olivia's household, but Viola we'd see in Duke Orsino's household. Sir Andrew, maybe not in Lady Olivia's household, but still good friends with Sir Toby and still kind of wooing Lady Olivia, even though it's not happening. Now you have some lesser known characters that don't have as many lines, like Curio would be in Duke Orsino's household, and Valentine. You don't see him a whole lot, but it's those little things that like students will pick up, like Cesario. The name's only mentioned a few times, but it is Viola as the quarter to Lady Olivia from Duke Orsino. And then we have Fabian, again, little known but has more lines, and then the poor Malvolio. And Festi as well. Part of, though, traverses between both households is in Lady Olivia's household. And once it's all finished, you'll have everything lined up and it'll appear in a two-column format of who's in which household. And then we can move on to the next one. Next one is putting stuff into a timeline. So you can do it a couple different ways. You can have students name significant events, and then as a group, you can decide where it might fall. Now, there's only 10 slots for this particular application, so there's only 10 major events, but it covers most of them. Or you can have it be that a student will name an act and they'll name what happens in that act. So we have Act 1, Scene 2. We would say that would be Viola washes up on the shores of Illyria. Just have the student name it, and then it can pop up. Act 5, Scene 1. You can name almost anything in Act 5, Scene 1 because there's only Act 5, Scene 1. But the big thing there is the reveal that Viola is really a woman, and that Sebastian is alive, and that they're back together, and then they reveal their love to their significant loved ones, and everyone's happy except for Malvolio. Even Toby and Mariah go off and do their own thing. But each one has an identifier for that part of the act, mainly the main stopping point for that act. So if a student says, when Malvolio comes in grinning with cross-gartered and yellow stockings, you would click on Act 3, Scene 4. Again, just so students can take their idea of how the play is laid out in their mind and then put it into that context. Our next activity would be these blocks. Now, each student would be able to come up and select one. A student would select one, and then in their mind, looking at the text, and students can do this in their seat. It should be large enough that they could read it. Students could do it in their seat and 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 in their minds they're going to select who that character is, and then they're going to read that line with that information of where that character is at that certain point in time in the play. So a student comes up and says, maybe they select this particular block, and they think about it in their mind, and they identify the character themselves. If they're having trouble and they can't do that, then they can pick one and then announce what character they believe it is at the end. Or you can have students guess what character they think it is at the end from that student's particular interpretation, and then you can click on it. So the student can come up and say, "Enough, no more. 'Tis not so sweet now as it was before." And that student might say, "I believe it's Duke Orsino," and you click on it, and they'll flip around. And it's Duke Orsino. Now, we can do this for any of them, and you could probably have multiple students come up and do each one. The big thing is just getting them to envision the character and then come up and perform it. I mean, if once we click all through them, they're going to know all the answers, but maybe you have a student that feels like they could have done a more passionate job at a particular character. Like say we have the captain here, and maybe the person who came up, did it one way, and they want to do it a more passionate way, so they choose a "I saw your brother, most provident in peril, bind himself courage and hope, both teaching him the practice to a strong mast that lived upon the sea." They can come up and again applying their own voice to the character, and that's a really important part, is getting them to apply their own voice. Now our last activity is we have image dice. Now the image dice they're going to be 6 different major characters. Each of these characters we would have earlier on in the semester gone over one of their monologues. So the students will know each of the monologues that would be asked of them here, and we'll have copies of them for it. They might not have done the monologue early in the semester, but they would have had access to it and heard it a number of times. So each student that wanted to participate, and you don't have to have all of them do it because it is a longer monologue, you can have them come up, click on it, and we have Malvolio, David Tennant playing Malvolio, and then you'd have them go to it, and you can have them prepared on small slips of paper. Early in the semester, we'd have them sit and do a wall sit to help support that voice, and then have them go through the particular monologue. You can have it not repeat, or you can have it repeat and hear multiple times, but I suggest not repeating so you don't hear the same one over and over again. And then finally, our last image, again, is our starting image, can be our closing image. And this is a time that you can have students ask any questions, maybe about an upcoming test or assessment. I know that for us, I'd use this time, I'd leave it up on the board and use this time to talk about the group projects we would be working on, and the group project / performance, where students are taking a certain part of the play and either bringing it to modern day or putting it in another setting that either challenges or complicates the understanding of gender or foolishness in the play. And that is our 12th Night review. I hope you take the opportunity to utilize this and intersperse it into your classes, and I hope your students find a wonderful joy in Shakespeare that I find, particularly in the play of Twelfth Night.